Very good evening to all present. So today we have joined in rehearsal 2 of this 3 days international conference on human values in higher education. So here I welcome the panel on education group 1, and today we'll be discussing about the vision of holistic value-based education. So I invite Dr. Anita Santaji Mane, who is PhD in Commerce from Shivaji University, and she's having academic experience of 27 years, and she has been actively involved in value education since August 2020. So, Dr. Anita, over to you for UHV point of view on vision of holistic human value-based education.
Thank you, Dee. Welcome all the panelists, observers, and the participants who have joined the second day panel discussion, Vision for Holistic Value-Based Education. Let's give us a recap of what we have done on day 1, where we tried to see the priorities of values over skills in education. Education has the responsibility to facilitate understanding what to do, what is valuable as a human being, and learning how to do, that is a skill and technology. What we tried to say and what we got from the participants, that is both are important. But when it comes to priority between these two, the priority is understanding what to do, that is value education, and learning how to do it, that is doing it with skill and technical education. What was the present approach? In skill education, at most addressed is the need of the body. Right understanding is not in focus. The capacity to live in relationship with other human being is not in focus. But we have seen through the panelists that the core focus was on to accumulate more and more, to consume more and more, rather than to produce what is required and utilized. When we talk of solution-based, here we talked about values. Values, when we talked about, it says we addressed the right understanding in every child, the capacity to live in relationship with other human beings, the capacity to identify the need for physical facility, that is the skill and practice for sustainable production, and more than what is required, that is right utilization of physical facilities leading to feeling of prosperity. The basic guidelines for value education where all the panelists had agreed, that is when it comes to value education, it has to be universal, rational, verifiable, and leading to harmony. Now coming up to our today's session, vision. What do we see here? That the diagram shows this discussion. It shows the low-level consciousness where we have 3 things, that is right understanding in the self, relationship with human beings, and physical facility with the rest of the nature. When we are trying to see this, here with low level of consciousness, our main emphasis is always has been on physical facilities. Here, then we try to go for relationship and then with the right understanding. Here, but what we are trying to develop here is the right understanding in every child, helping every individual to develop a correct understanding for themselves, others, and also the world around them. The capacity to live in relationship with other human beings, that is teaching individuals how to build meaningful and respectful relationship based on mutual understanding and respect. Then here again, we are trying the capacity to identify the need for physical facility and sustainable production. Here we are informing, checking out that how there can be a feeling of prosperity, that is having more than what is necessary, and understanding what is physical. That's the reason the arrow shows here. That is transformation from lower level to or we can say partial consciousness to a higher level, where each one understand how to live in right understanding, how to live with your relationship with human beings, which leads to mutual happiness. And when we talk of physical facilities with the rest of the nature, leads to mutual prosperity. Now, vision at societal level, the right understanding in the self, that is understanding harmony in human beings, family, society, nature, and existence. Here, then it comes to justice in relationship with human being, from family world family. When we are having this, it leads to mutual happiness and undivided society. Then later going on to participation in larger order with nature, from family order to world order, and family order with the fulfillment of human goal, universal human goals. This is when we have a proper right understanding, justice in relationship with human beings, and participation with the nature. Now, what is actually happening? Human value-based education. Our next generation has to improve in understanding and feeling. What we see in this picture, if you see, it is more in black color. And this is a present structure where we see that in every individual, there are assumptions, that is, money is everything. In few individual, it is accumulation by any means. In society, it is domination, exploitation, and over nature, it is mastery and exploitation. Here, people are obsessed for consumption, for profit, or sensual pleasure, which usually leads to terrorism, war, and resource depletion when we go for mastery and exploitation over nature. This is what is the present stage. From here, we need to go to a higher level. This all happens when we don't have a proper understanding. That is, a right understanding is missing in the self. The relationship with human being, this leads to unhappiness, making others also unhappy. And this leads to deprivation, exploitation, and depriving others. This, we call it as partial fulfillment or partial consciousness, where we lay more stress on physical facility. Now, as this transformation goes higher, here we see that everything is moving around. Here we try to see that people have started understanding, they started having right understanding in their self, which leads to a relationship within with other human beings, where there is a feeling of respect, there is a feeling of trust, which leads to mutual happiness. And then physical facilities and other existence, where it leads to mutual happiness, prosperities. Now, here, if we see in every individual, when we talk of human society, in every individual, there is a right understanding and a right feeling. In every family, there is prosperity. In society, there is fearlessness, trust. And in natural existence, there is coexistence of mutual fulfillment. This happens when we have human education, where there is personal transformation. Then we have societal transformation. Now, what are the desirable outcomes? Common graduate attributes: holistic vision of life, socially responsible behavior, environmentally responsible work, ethical human conduct, having competence and capabilities for maintaining health and hygiene, respect for excellence, merit, and gratitude for all. This is what is required. Now, let me call upon our moderator for today's discussion, Dr. Garima Joshi, Assistant Professor ECE, UIET, Punjab University, Chandigarh, India. She is a PhD in Electronics and Communication Engineering and has been actively involved in universal human values pro bono since 2023. I welcome Dr. Garima. Please carry forward.
Thank you, Dr. Anita. Thank you for putting up the view of vision of value-based education. So with this, I welcome esteemed panelists, our respected resource persons, and delegates to this panel discussion on vision of value-based education. So we have in our panel Mr. Mahesh S. Kore. He is Assistant Professor in Pune Vidyarthi Grih, College of Engineering and Technology, Pune, Maharashtra. Welcome, Mr. Mahesh. Our another esteemed panelist is Dr. Manisha Gupta. She has worked as professor and director at Punjab Institute of Management and Technology, Khanna, Punjab in India. And she is a proactive volunteer of UHV since last 4 years. Welcome, Dr. Manisha. We have with us Ms. Lipika Mitra. She is Director Bhushala Parent Coach. She is B in electrical engineering, and she has been actively involved in UHV activities since 2023. Welcome, Ms. Lipika. Then we have with us Dr. Ela Dedia. She is Director of Anveshanam Foundation, and she is PhD in Textile and Fashion Technology. She has been actively involved in UHV activities since 2020. Welcome, Dr. Ela. Now I welcome Dr. Amresh S. Patil. He is Associate Professor in PDA College of Engineering, Karnataka. He is PhD in Highway Engineering, and he is also involved in UHV since 2021. He is also the coordinator of UHV cell in his institute. Welcome, Dr. Amresh. We have with us Dr. Prashant B. Daikwane. He is Professor and Dean Infrastructure at College of Engineering, Nagpur, and he is volunteering in UHV activities along with his spouse, Dr. Jyoti. Welcome, Dr. Prashant. So I welcome all the delegates and panelists to the discussion, and I open this discussion on vision for value education by imposing this question to all the panelists. That is, what is your vision of higher education? How do you see the vision for higher education from your perspective? So may I invite Dr. Lipika to start the panel discussion.
Yes, Dr. Garima. So I feel that the solution to the present day problems will come from education. You know, educational institutes are not meant to be just the mirrors of the society. In fact, these are expected to be thought leaders of the society. Therefore, when the young minds come to us, we need to shape them properly. In addition to imparting technical skills, we need to help them discover the humanity in themselves. If you look at every commission and the expert committees on education, they have emphasized that this role, the central role of education in man-making. That means the development of a wholesome personality. And this hope needs to be appropriately fulfilled. Thank you. That's what I wanted to say.
So certainly the higher education, it helps in developing the overall personality of an individual. So thank you for that response. So may I invite Dr. Prashant to just share his views on what is the vision for higher education, what he thinks it should be.
Thank you, Dr. Garima, for posing me a very nice question about the higher education. In my view, higher education, particularly, it should be with the value-based education nowadays, because whenever we are going for the higher education, if the individual is developed with the right understanding, so this right understanding in the self is ultimately developing his relations with the others, and finally he can get the idea, or rather say, I will say that the correct idea about the prosperity, that is the use of the physical facility. particularly at the higher education, when the students, they are coming out and they are becoming pillar of the nation, as we discussed in the earlier sessions and the keynote lectures also. So as the pillars of the nations, if they are given the right understanding at the right place, that is the higher education, so they will implement all the things in their policy making, and ultimately for that nation like India, or even for the abroad and other countries, the higher education must be equipped with the value-based education. Rather, I will say, from that value-based education, value-based living also, and then only the developing the relations with the other human beings, and understanding the right need of the physical can be developed now.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Prashant. As you rightly stated, that the vision of higher education should be in developing the right understanding in an individual, because the role the individual has to play in their life, that will be guided by this right understanding. May I please call upon Dr. Amresh now to add upon this vision of higher education?
Thanks, Dr. Garima, for giving the opportunity. The vision, as just Dr. Prashant has reiterated, that what we really know or what we understand as a development is the focus here. When I say the vision for universal human values content. So if that clarity, if I'm trying to help the students to know that the development is not in the form of infrastructure or the material around, it is focused to the development of a human being. If that is the center, I believe that is the one education which is holding him to help himself in the living part. Because now, once when he is able to see that the development of the individual is what is the center of the living part, it is not the material around or the development in the form of infrastructure or the wealth, then his livings becomes eased out and he is able to fulfill now the relationship in with what he lives at the family, at the level of the society. And he not only tried to involve himself in exploitation but somehow the other way for needs, because he is not able to look into the with this right understanding how much is what is required. So then he will be totally unhappy in his life. So once when he is able to see that the physical facilities is of a very limited need for his living, then he makes a proposal in the right way, where now he is able to fulfill his living with mutual happiness and also trying to protect and enrich the nature in the living part. He is not at all in deprivation, so that his living is more of the time fulfilled. That's what I'm able to see. This should be the vision where it is helping every individual in this journey. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Amresh, for that response. And you also added that the vision has to be the development of human being, the holistic development of human being. So further propagating the question, I'll just twist it in a way that all the panelists, they responded that the vision of higher education has to be to develop a human being, to develop a right understanding, to develop a person with a clear vision. So, do you think that education has to focus on consciousness development of mankind? The priority has to be first in developing right understanding, and then followed by the feeling for relationship, and then the physical facility. What is your view on this? I'll put this question forward to Dr. Manisha.
Yes, Dr. Garima, very good evening. So, yes, very well said by you that education must be focused on the conscious development of mankind. And according to me, development of human conscious means development of all the three. That is right understanding in the individual and ability or capacity to live in the relationships and the capacity to identify and recognize how much physical facility I require. So all these three things must be ensured through education. And I don't think that any of these three is less important. But of course, if we talk about the focus, the priority, so focused must be on right understanding, on ensuring right understanding and right feeling of relationship. I can see for myself that when I was under the process of education, I was going through my education, my focus was on earning more and more. And with that focus, we were going ahead. But as I moved further, I realized the importance of relationships, the feelings in relationship, and the requirement of right understanding to have fulfilling relationship. That I realized the importance of these things I realized, but that is through experience, through my life experiences. And when I listened to the keynote address, I could relate it to the problem centric approach, that this is a problem centric approach. And it would be a solution centric approach if our next generation is developed with the focus of right understanding, relationship, and physical facilities. So, certainly, the priority must be right understanding, because if I have right understanding within myself, if I'm able to live, I'm able to understand harmony in me, I'm able to live in harmony within me, and I can also understand the feeling of relationship. I can live in relationship with the people around, with my family, with others, and I can also, with right understanding, ensure how much facility I can identify, how much physical facility I need, and I can also see how I can earn that physical facility. So basically, all the three things are required, but the priority, according to my view, is right understanding and then right feeling, and then working for the physical facility. Because if I have right understanding in focus, so I'll be working for both the others. So it will be solved on its own. This is my view. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Manisha. So I pose this question to Dr. Ela now, that as we see, the vision of higher education has to develop the complete personality of a human being. Do you think that this priority order, which is being said is right understanding, followed by relationship, and then physical facility, is this priority order in line with the vision which we are seeking?
The first thing that is very important for us to see is that education has to focus on consciousness development, because that is transformational. So the core purpose of education must be to help the students to cultivate wisdom, to be self-aware, and a deeper understanding of human existence and relationship. So with this understanding, they'll be better equipped to face the complexities of life, and they will have more clarity of purpose, as we have discussed. And this was very well highlighted in the keynote address also, the slide that was displayed, that was presented. So education in this model becomes not merely a means to acquire skills for employment, but a pathway to personal and societal transformation. So if this is not there in the vision, how are we going to achieve it? So the vision of education has to focus on the self-development, on the development of consciousness, the development of mankind. And therefore, the priority has to be for developing one's own right understanding, followed by feelings and then physical facilities. So I think that the importance, if you're looking at the priority, it will have to be focused on right understanding. Because without right understanding, I will fail in my relationships. I may fail in the way I'm utilizing or identifying, producing the physical facilities. So according to me, both these will depend on right understanding. So this has to be the vision of education, where we are able to focus on consciousness, that is the development of right understanding. I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, very rightly you have answered, and you have also highlighted how, if we don't have this priority, it will be not clear that where our education setup is directed. So let me pose this question to Dr. Mahesh now. Dr. Mahesh, along with the vision of higher education, do you also see this priority order? And if this priority is not followed, what do you think will be the issues? Or is there, you have another viewpoint?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Garima. The question is very important because if you look at the today's education system, uh, any students comes to the education system and what he has been learned, taught from childhood that he has to earn too much to get the physical facility. But ultimately, when he is not able to see what he want to be, then he see that whatever I tried till today, that is not getting me. And there the role of education comes in the picture. Means whatever the education he has taken till today, it has given only and only physical facility. Somewhere he has the education has failed to give the other things that the students want to be. So what are the remaining things that we want to catch up now? So he found that by physical facility he is not able to cope up with the relationships also. So he need relationships he could understand, but he is not able to see. But by getting the physical facility, relations cannot be managed. So somewhere the missing part is very important. That here you have rightly said is right understanding. He had certain understanding, but it is not right till today. But education has very important role to give this right understanding to the students. And it will be get developed into the students. Student can find, student can see, student can live with the relationship. Not only that, he would also see that relationship with the nature also. So he can consume very rightly the physical facility available with him. So I feel this priority is very well, I can say, said here. The understanding, not only understanding, yes, he need right understanding, very importantly, through which he can see the relationship with remaining, I can say, human beings, as well as he can say with the society also. So he needed one physical facility, he can cope up with that also. So this is, I feel it's very, very important, I can say, the priority has given, and this is the role of education to develop the right understanding, and that will leads other part can be automatically get achieved. So it is the start of the things for which we must work on, and the remaining two things like relationship and physical facility will be the natural outcome of it. This is what is my take on this question. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Dr. Mahesh. Yes. So you have seen that, you have discussed that all three are important and they hold a priority order. So I'll just pose this question to Dr. Lipika, that are these three things the only things that are important? Something can be added or subtracted, something, and then the priority order also. How do you see this vision for an individual?
Yes. Yes, Dr. Garima. So keeping in mind the current state of society, education has to focus on conscious development of mankind. Education has to shift its focus from skill-centric to value-based. I think this covers almost, the all arena of life, because it is addressing the self. It discusses human being, particularly the self, and does not just focus on the external realities. So this will turn out to be self-empowering, as I can see, since each individual is able to make decisions and find out what is of value to them. Secondly, there's an attention to relationship. So this will have increased sense of commitment towards family and towards society. And thirdly, as you rightly mentioned, that with the right understanding of the self, it will become clearer that material needs are limited, and when appropriately determined, these can be fulfilled without much difficulty, and thus, providing the feeling of prosperity. So, in conclusion, this holistic approach that you're talking about, it suggests that most meaningful education begins with developing a deep understanding of oneself and the world, which then builds the capacity to accept the relationship we have with other human beings, and ultimately the use of physical resources. Yes, so prioritizing this conscious development can lead to a more compassionate, ethical, and responsible society, where individuals are equipped not just with skills but also with the wisdom to use those skills for the greater good.
So you have very well pointed out one by one how right understanding in the self followed by relationship, and then seeing that what are the material needs. It all encompasses the vision for an individual development. So may I come to Dr. Amresh now? Dr. Amresh, do you also see that it is a complete vision for an individual? The consciousness development along with relationship followed by physical facility. In this order, this is the complete vision for an individual development or transformation.
Yes, this is what is going to help every individual. The vision is very clear and it is helping every individual, because until and unless the right understanding is not there prevailing in every child, then he doesn't make any efforts with the relationship also, because he doesn't even understand that the core of living is the feeling part. Because every time the best proposal that an EHV is giving to every individual is that he is coexisting with the body and the self. This awareness itself is helping every individual. If that has the clarity, and I need to work for both the fulfillment part. It is the self as well as the body, and requirements are both different. And if I'm not, most of the time I'm only working at the level of the body and not even aware that there is a self. And in that self there is a self which is helping. The self is there with that feeling part, and this is helping the every individual. And then the awareness with what he starts to make a program for fulfilling himself and fulfilling the other. Because what is that, the best proposal is what I have, I can only give that. So if that is there, then it starts participation, and now he makes a program to see to it that the relation becomes fulfilling mutually, and he will try to make a program which will lead for his producing more than what is required. And that also, it is a feeling part, what how much he is producing and how much he has, and is it enough for him, and whatever is more, he is there to share with the other. And this will always help in the living part. And this is what I'm able to see. This is the gifted content which a student is going to get with this UHV. This is what I'm able to see as a vision for UHV. Thank you for the opportunity.
So yes, you are able to see that how important it is, and you also added one thing of like what is the program. Program means how the individual is living, deciding, and behaving outside. So this all encompasses the program of living, right? This is what you meant. So thank you for that response. May I come to Dr. Prashant? Do you also see the completeness of this vision for an individual? At an individual level, this is complete. And if yes, then how? And can you give some example related to it where you have seen this completeness of this vision? Maybe related to yourself. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Garima. As far as my experiences are concerned, I have seen this in all my 36 years experience of teaching and being with the students. If their right understanding is developed, and if they are given the correct understanding of this value education, or rather I will say value-based education, they will be making this unhappiness part from their relations out. At the same time, they will not be feeling deprived, or they will not be exploiting the nature. For that, I am giving my example. whenever I go, because I shifted for various colleges, being government. So 3, 4 places, Amravati, Pune, and now in Nagpur. So there I developed the, you can say, the right understanding with the student that when they enter into the first year, they are given a plant and it is their plant, it is their baby. So they are nurturing it for 4 years. And when they go out of the campus, they are putting the tag right from the first year itself, and they have got the belongingness, and they are developing the nature with the means relation with the nature and with the human being also. And they are finding that the basic concept of the tree is that tree is being in the you can say it is taking the sun on their head and they are providing the shadow. So likewise, I can see in my whole life of this education of 36 years, if we are inculcating the habits, so our right understanding in every child or the student at the higher education, so this vision is that by their individual development, we are transforming the society, and ultimately we are getting the right understanding for the physical facilities. And when they will become the pillars of the nation after passing this, so they will again transform this knowledge for the human society. Gee, this is my take on this issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much by relating it to the practical experience. The next very important question is that today there is a lot of emphasis on research and innovation, right? So, to all the panelists, do you think that if we emphasize on value-based education, the institutions will not be able to progress in this direction, in the technological direction? Will the value education be a hindrance to the skill education? What is your take on this? So I'll start with Dr. Ela to respond to this question.
I hope I'm audible.
Now you are audible. Yes.
Emphasizing value-based education does not necessarily conflict with skill education or research, innovation. It is, in fact, it enhances the quality and the direction of the skills, the research, innovation, and so on. Value-based education will ensure that whatever the skill that they're learning, whatever innovation that they are doing, will contribute to the greater good and will align all the technological and the scientific progress, all the types of progress with the well-being of human being. So it will foster more responsible, ethical, and sustainable utilization of the skill as well as whatever innovation that they're doing. So without grounding in the values, any kind of skill education or any kind of innovation research can get misaligned with the societal needs, or they may rather exaggerate inequalities. Thank you so much. I hope I answered your question.
Thank you so much for that response. Yes, yes. We are able to hear you and your vision and your thought process behind it. And yes, you highlighted that how it will be aimless research or skill acquisition if we don't add value education into it. So I also take this question further to Dr. Mahesh. What is your take on this? Will the technology or skill education be left behind if our focus is just on value education?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Garima. And the question is very relevant also because if we look at the current scenario, what do we understand by the development? By doing research and innovation, we are making very good quality gadgets, very good quality material. And are we seeing this as development? And when we see that, if this is the development, then can we see that this progress of such kind of gadgets and the material development doesn't lead to the whatever we want to be? then immediately we understand this key by just getting this development of research and innovation will not lead to the right kind of progress. So if we emphasis on value-based education, students will be able to get right understanding as we discussed earlier also. And once they are developed with the right kind of understanding, definitely they would be able to apply their knowledge, skills basically for right kind of research. If that research is applied to right kind of a product, which will be a sustainable kind of a products for the society as well as for the nature, definitely that will help both way. That will not destruct, but as well as that bonding between the other persons and the person who is working on that, that will be more strengthened. So I feel always the value based education is not just creating a literate people, those who can read the things, those who can develop the things which will be destructing to the I can say society or the whole nature. Better way if we develop the right understanding through value based education, that research and innovation will be helpful, that is very beneficial for the society. So this progress not at all create any problem to the any institutional development. Rather, we can see this these days governments, not only Indian government but all governments are emphasizing for such kind of research which will be helpful for the humankind. So I feel value-based education will play an important role. That is my take on this question. Thank you so much.
So I'll take this question further to Dr. Amresh, that in your institute, do you see that some people may think your thought process may not be like this, as I have heard you earlier, but do you see that in general, the thought process or vision may be in this direction? And what can be done, or what was your experience to, respond to such apprehensions in the mindset of people?
Yeah, thanks to Dr. Garima. You are trying to help each one of us in this panel that what really could be some of the challenges. It is fine because we are all having different views. You have our own priorities to set as an individual. So if someone is not able to see this right understanding part clearly, the what is the job of the other is whoever is it is only the hand holding. See, what is that we can do? Because right now, as you said, what is happening with our institution, if you are very focused upon this question, it is definitely, it is not that encouraging, but I'm able to see that this is what can lead us, help us for making the institution work for this humane goal. Otherwise, what happens is, education without the purpose then becomes, it would lead a wrong path for the young minds. They may feel that struggle and what is a competition is what is the base in the education. But if at all, if this content is going to go to the students, I am able to see that their excellence can improve. They can think about what is good to themselves, then work with their own potential and lead themselves happily and lead one of the best part of the nation. How they can contribute by themselves, what is their participation at the larger organs do come naturally when this content goes in. This is what is that I am able to see. But right now the focus is not there with the people around, but definitely this is going to come. As it has taken time for me, it will take time for the other also. But for all of us to who there in this journey need to only help the other. Help the other is the only aspect that it can help for this vision to come up the way we all foresee. Thank you for the question. Thank you.
So we do see this clarity, and we see that how it is important, and it is not question of just remaining behind, but it is the question of clarity for an individual. Yes. So I further come to the next question, which is very important, that there are 6 proposed graduate attributes which are placed here. So you can see them on your screen. So in view of this, so which may be the program outcomes in education, right? Based on these graduate attributes, we have program outcomes. How do you see its validity in the curriculum? So how do you see the validity in the curriculum? We have already proposed the 6 graduate attributes under this. So I'll pose this question to Dr. Prashant. You may respond, please.
Thank you, Dr. Garima, for such a wonderful question and the wonderful these graduate attributes which are on the screen. So really, I find with my experience in teaching and with the students for the last this so many years, rather say 36 and 37th year. So the attributes are holistic vision of the life, then socially responsible behavior, environmentally responsible work, ethical human conduct, having competence, capability, maintain health and hygiene, and the lastly is the respect for excellence and gratitude for all. So, Dr. Garima, in my view, all these 6, of course, the priority can be different with the different persons, but all these 4 are required because this all, as we've seen right now before this discussion in keynote. So there was 3 terms. That is the it was the competency based capability, and whatever is given there. So unless and until having the competence, so competence is to be improved by the others for helping them. Suppose I'm having my more competence, suppose I can say that, so I will try to improve others. But at the same time, if it is to be done with the environmentally responsible work, means the students should be acquainted with the knowledge that they should not exploit the nature, they should not pollute the environment for their personal benefit, for acquiring more and more physical facilities. If they are exploiting the nature, then this part also comes. So, and finally, the socially responsible behavior. Being pillars of the nations, when they will be entering into the society, they should see that. So, with the right understanding and the relations with the other human beings, so finally, they should see that whatever be the physical facility required, just for enough, I mean, just for this, they're working and having produced somewhat more, so they can become socially responsible also. So it leads to ethical human conduct, and finally, they will have the concept of the excellence and gratitude for all for getting such a nice vision about the value-based education and the value-based living. So I think that's all. All 6 are important, but priority can be given for the in that sequence: developing competence, then environmental, then ethical human conduct, and then this all. So which leads to holistic vision of the life. G. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Prashant. You have covered almost all 6 of them. Next, I'll go to Dr. Lipika. And Dr. Lipika, I would like you to focus on this competence capabilities for maintaining health and hygiene. So focusing on this, how do you see this can be achieved? Competence and capabilities for maintaining health and hygiene.
Yes, so as Dr. Garima, as it was also mentioned in the keynote address by Shri Ganesh Bagaria ji, how can we maintain health, right? So it's not just the body, but we need to have that understanding of the self. How can we keep, this health of the self? And through that, when I'm aware, when I feel that I'm responsible for my body, then I am able to take care of my body also. So yes, it talks about the importance of the labor, along with your lifestyle, the food habits that you have. So all that is going to be, main ingredients, I will say, for the health and hygiene part. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you. By referring to how it is important that we keep, our health also the priority, and then how it is the competence and capability of individual to see that healthy body is an instrument for healthy self. So may I come to Dr. Manisha, and I would like you to respond to this part of respect for excellence and gratitude for all. So how do we see this as a desirable outcome with the proposals of value education?
Yes. Yes, Dr. Garima. So these 6 desirable outcomes, the common graduate attributes that we are foreseeing for our student, really this is nice that we could see them as desirable outcomes for our students, and these are desirable too. And if I refer to the current situation, then this 6th one, the respect for excellence and gratitude for all, seems missing almost everywhere. Like I can see our students disrespecting teachers and not, feeling gratitude for their parents, and all in all, parents are not able to give them some physical facility. They are not able to see that they are able to extend education to them. So these things are they seems missing at present. So our education should be so, and it should be value based, and if it can inculcate this common graduate attributes to in our students, so that would be very fine, that would be very nice, that our children should respect the excellence, the they should rightly evaluate themselves and evaluate the people who are doing excellent, good for excellence. They are, you know, in all ways they are working for harmony. They are working for excellence. They are trying to improve their competence and harmony. So if they are able to rightly evaluate them, and they can see that how all people around and the nature around is helping them to develop their selves themselves, so that gratitude is very important to be developed in our students. And in case these feelings are inculcated in our students, then certainly we can expect the right feelings to live in relationships, and to live in world family can be there within our students. So this is a desirable outcome, and with value education we could expect that this outcome getting achieved. So this is my take. Thank you, Dr. Garima.
Thank you, Dr. Manisha. With this question, I will come to Dr. Ela also. I think more clarity is required how these are desirable outcomes in context to value education.
I agree to all the panelists, and that these are very important. Like introducing these graduate attributes such as integrity, critical thinking, empathy, collaboration, social responsibility, and all these 6 attributes in the curriculum is very essential. They will be helping us to shape well-rounded individuals who are not only experts, proficient in their fields, in whatever their professional field they are, but also who are capable of ethical reasoning, who are able to engage themselves in the community, in the society, in the family, and who will be more responsible citizen. So such outcome will align well with the vision of the humane and the value-driven education system. So I see that embedding these attributes as program outcomes in higher education would not only be valid, but also very vital for the long-term goals of fostering you can say a humane, a peaceful, an equitable, a just, a sustainable society. So I see all these attributes, the 6 attributes, whether it's holistic vision of life, socially responsible behavior, environmentally responsible work, ethical human conduct, competence and capability of maintaining health and hygiene, and respect for excellence and gratitude for all. All 6 are very meritorious and very important. So That's the way I look at it.
Yes, so this is how these graduate attributes are actually a vision for an individual, and then it is for his behavior, his own, health and hygiene, then human conduct, then society, then environment. All these are coming under the scope of these desirable outcomes. I'll request Dr. Mahesh now to, add, if you can add certain inputs to what has been already placed by the panelist in context to these points.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Garima. I feel all the panelists, whatever said, I can say 100% agree with that, because all these attributes that is enlisted here, those actually gives the correct kind of idea what the education should give. Attributes means what? When the student will come out of education, he must see all these things within him. So when we say holistic vision is the most prior, because if he has holistic vision of the whole life, so he will be life ready after the education and other things. Once he has holistic vision, automatically what I would say, he will be having the socially responsible behavior. Once he is socially responsible behavior, we could understand that right understanding he has developed within him, or it is in the process. So he will be very responsible towards the environment, because it's not only his environment or someone one's environment, it is, I can say, it is for all. So he will be equally responsible. And when he will responsible, his conduct will be very ethical, because he has developed the competencies and capacities for maintaining his own health, hygiene. And I said not only own, but it is a health of the society, health of like nature, by developing the respect for whatever is excellent. And he must, I can say that, see that gratitude. But I feel almost all the things can be the outcome of it if he has that holistic vision of about the life, if he is developed but the through the education. So I feel all attributes are important, but the first one is very, very important in my point of view. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Mahesh, for that response. And as we have an indicator here that it is from individual, it will propagate further. So I'll just add on my question to the panel that the formal education has to be a pillar for undivided society and universal human order. So how do you see this goal of education being fulfilled through this vision? So I'll pose this question to Dr. Amresh.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Garima. Once again, I believe with what was the discussion earlier, from there, if I'm starting, what I'm able to see is the content of UHV is trying to help us to know the right meaning of these words. What has happened is we are decorating our vision of the institution with all these good words, but are we able to look into them? Are we able to see them properly? Have we understood those words? Because as myself, in the last 54 years, I was not able to know what really is a trust mean. So the content has helped me to know what really is trust, what really is relationship, how I can lead my living part. So these ethical part, holistic, what I mean by holistic, what I mean by excellence, what I mean by gratitude, it is all being known only through this content. This value education is the one which is helping an individual to know the true words. When this is there as in the back of every individual or every student, then definitely this could be the pillars. What I am able to see, this is going to be the best part that any individual can have before he gets into his living part. Because until unless he is not able to know what is trust, then he is always trying to see that what is given or taken is the physical facilities, is what is trust, is what is that is understanding. He never even looks into that. as this is it is looking into the intention of the other. So there's a great part of this content. So I feel this is one that every individual on the earth should know about. And if I am being in this education field, I am blessed with this content, and I am able to see this. This is what is the work for me to do in the rest of my life. Thank you, Didi. Thank you for the opportunity.
Right. We can just have a slide also related to the question, Dr. Anita. Can you move on the slide to the societal transformation? Yes. So next, may I call the response from Dr. Lipika, that how do you see that this as a pillar of for undivided society, the formal education is a pillar for undivided society and universal human order. How do you see this goal can be achieved? How can we propagate this vision further?
Yes, if not education, then who, what else or who else can do this?
Right.
So I agree with all the panelists and what just Dr. Amaresh just spoke about, that this UHP content gives us, the definition of each and every word. There is nothing, haywire, I would say. If it talks about right understanding, what it means to be, to have that right understanding. So yes, when you say that when you say that undivided society, so what it means is it needs to have justice in relationship with other human being, and when you are able to do this, justice in human relationship from family to the world family, that is what we are calling as undivided society, and that will come with right understanding in the self. And when we have that right understanding, we are able to see that relationship with other human being. So this is very much possible through education. And when we talk about the universal human order, again, we are talking about the prosperity part and our participation in the larger order. So when you are able to do that from family order to the world family order, that is what it means by universal human order. And it is also talking about the human goal, which is about happiness in every individual, prosperity in the family, this trust and fearlessness in the society, and coexistence with the nature and existence. So yes, that's all. I think this can lead us to there, and not just this can, this will lead us to there. I'm very hopeful about this. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Lipika, for that response. And you see the hope that, yes, education can have this possible. Through this vision, it is possible to have societal transformation. Dr. Ela, how do you see this happening from personal transformation through human education to societal transformation?
Yes, that is the way education should lead us to. Education today, when viewed through the lens of human and societal transformation, it often falls short of this ideal. So much of the contemporary education that we are all involved with narrowly focuses on technical proficiency and, of course, career preparation. So while these are also important, we're not saying they're not important, but can they be the only goals? There is a growing need to definitely enrich the curriculum with value-based education. Because education is the only way that it will lead to personal transformation from all that we discussed so far. So it will lead to self-awareness, a sense of purpose, and an understanding of one's role in the larger human family. So this naturally leads to then societal transformation, as the individuals will, think, will behave, their conduct, everything will be aligned. They will work towards the community and the world at large. But if we look at today's education system, it really needs to be assessed critically. and to find out how much it is really contributing to these transformational goals. Because the current overemphasis on economic outcomes we see on getting people job ready. In fact, there are courses only to get them job ready, to increase earning potential. Now, this is detracting from the from education's deeper and more transformative role. Therefore, integrating curriculum that encourages this kind of self-reflection, self-evaluation, and self-transformation, which will increase the social responsibility, environment sustainability, which is so critical. So we need to align education with this kind of a vision for personal and societal transformation. I hope I have answered your question.
Yeah, sure. And you have rightly pointed out that how it will actually lead from individual to family and then society. So I'll just pose this question to Dr. Manisha that it looks like that if it happens at individual level, it will go to the family level and society level. Through your experiences, can you just share that you can see the glimpse of it happening? Otherwise, it looks a very big, vision. It looks like that it will take so many years to actually achieve it. But through your experiences, can you see any glimpse of this happening around you in your life or any experience around you?
Yes, Dr. Karima. I can say that I could see that if our desire is for human society or an undivided society, certainly the starting point is education. Like before, I was acquainted with
I'm
this
unable to
content.
hear you. Yeah, we lost your voice for a few seconds. Yeah, you
Okay.
can continue.
Unless, since this course, value education is, offered in our university. So we are actually teaching this course to our students. So I can see that, like I have an opportunity to teach this course, to undergo training of this course. And as it has been rightly said, that if the individual gets transformed, if I am working for my own right understanding, that I don't, understand myself only, but I also understand my relationships, my relationship with the nature, the entire existence. So with that understanding, I try to ensure my happiness as well as happiness of my family, my students, my colleagues. The even I can ensure the prosperity, my prosperity and prosperity of the nature, because I know how much is to be used as physical facility, how much should I extract from the nature, and that is required by me. So I also take care of the prosperity of nature. So I extend the justice in relationship from, my family, and I can see that when I am at harmony in myself, and I'm having right feelings, then my definition of family extends. So I move to the slowly towards the society and the world family order. So this is quite possible, because earlier, when I was not teaching this subject, so my students used to call me Hitler also. So my perception was for a very strict teacher. But later, when I, try to whatever, I worked upon myself, and so slowly my students saw a change, as transformation in me, and they found me an approachable teacher, where to whom they can go and tell their problems and can seek the solutions. So this type of change in perception I could see when I could be able to develop ease in myself. So I think that with my own transformation, this we can go for this transformation in the society. We can go up to societal transformation. So this is what I can just say right now, because time is also up. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Manisha. So we are running short of time here. So I will just ask if there are any questions from the delegates. Dr. Umesh wanted to ask something. If he's there, he can just raise the question, or so we can hear the remarks from Dr. Upasana.
Yes. So after hearing this nice discussion, witnessing you all sharing on this valuable topic, vision for holistic value-based education for humane society. Let me share my views also in next 2 minutes as concluding remarks of this session. Actually, when we visualize humane society, it comes as an undivided society, as you are observing here in this picture also, where the people are interacting in mutually fulfilling manner for participation in universal human order. That is through an orderly system applicable throughout the planet Earth, or you can say to whole world. In this direction, significant changes are taking place in mainstream education nowadays, where the courses need to be integrated with ethics and cultural education, what we are feeling in coming time. It is also desirable to encourage students' participation in community services as part of curriculum. Fortunately, the whole world is united on the sensitivity to be dealt in education. And we as Indian academicians started our bit towards this valuable participation. So thank you all for sharing your inputs. Let's compile all the inputs and submit to moderator for further assessment. Good night, all of you. Thank you so much. Over to you, Garima ji, for concluding the session.
Thank you, Dr. Upasana. And Dr. A. Geeta, we are falling short of time, so I'm very sorry. We will not be able to take your question here. And I just conclude by thanking all the panelists, delegates, resource person for being part of this very fruitful panel discussion on vision of value-based education. I'm confident such discussions, through such discussions, we will be able to envision the right vision of higher education institutes. And we will do our part wherever we go through these inputs. So thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Garima.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thanks
you.
all. G.
So we can sign off for the evening.
Yes. Right, Iladi? We can.
अर्पी भैया बोल रहे हैं अर्पी भैया
आरपी भैया बोल दीजिए.
No, you can do it from your.
I think time was increased. There was a message. It has
Yes,
the
there
one.
was-
No issue. Please
Let's
plan
conclude
accordingly.
it. Let's conclude it. It's rehearsal only. Hai na?
Okay, thank you.
Just to take care, that means we must be very particular about timings and all. Hai na? So whatever it is, if it is of 1 hour, we must think about it. If it is more than, then also we must be aware about it. Yeah.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, Upasana Didi. Thank you, Garima Didi.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you all for the nice discussion. Namaste.
thank you so much
Thank you. Namaste.